proposal is here, so let's give it, make a selection. And give it to you.
Have you come to a decision?
Yep.
And you?
No,
Kind of.
Decision.
You gonna abstain?
no, I'm not.
So you're referring to the revised or the
Correct.
repeated versions? Okay. Yep.
So what about,
So tell me about-
you know, and both of,
Yeah,
which one do you prefer?
which one you guys want?
Oh, good.
Make it slide, but
You are, I am too. We're going with Alex.
There we go. You think? Make the motion?
Make a motion. I'll make that motion too. Except Alex, isn't that his name?
Rethink,
Select rethink.
okay.
and I'll second that. When would they start? Middle of the month?
Later this week.
Later this week?
Your aggressive time, try to meet your aggressive timeline.
They'll meet it.
Try.
They're lined up. The candidates are lined up. You've created such a cushy job. They're all just,
They've all heard.
that's right. They want to be a part of this.
Great attorney on waiting in the wings.
You got great AV or online.
At least the B part.
All right, motion made and seconded to enter in or authorize the chairman to sign the contract with Rethink for town administrator recruitment and interim administrator services. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Recurring weekly rental of Whitcomb Hall.
So we have a memo in here from Katrina. I recall several years ago, probably now, we had someone who wanted to do something similar to this. I think it was baking, and the board was not receptive. I honestly don't think I don't recall the details, so I said, well, before we do it, kind of long-term commitments, wanted to run it by the board, and she said this renter is pretty flexible, willing to work around. You know, we got Tuesday nights are generally pretty open, but I think Legion is one Tuesday a month. So if they wanted to do Tuesdays, but then 1 week, you know, Tuesday's booked, and they'll do Thursday, they're fine with that. So it seems like it would be a good anchor tenant to help cover some of the cover a lot of utilities, but like I said, I recall that the board had a concern with doing something like that.
Do we know what it is?
I think it's a great food truck.
I didn't get a chance to look at the packet.
The one from Ringe.
What page is that on, Mike?
35. So it says we received the inquiry from a great food truck owner interested in anything but call once a week, so it should be in the kitchen to prepare food for the truck. Should be using the kitchen for 3 hours time to do some baking, bake, clean the space, take a product from their own. We usually have Tuesdays open. Always change dates.
So I take it they got a food license for the commercial kitchen that they're gonna come in and inspect it and make sure it's up to. Cause when you do that, it's gonna have to have some kind of food license to have that. It's gonna be considered almost like catering. But this one, well, is he cooking the food here? And he's taking the food from here and going into food truck. Our kitchen's gonna have to pass those. Just like anything else, because he's preparing the food here. And it has to have all the amenities for passing the food code. I'm pretty sure of that. I mean, if I wanted to do catering off-site and I had to go to a building, they're gonna come and check out where I'm gonna prep this food. So either he or somebody was gonna have to hold some kind of license, I think. I would imagine he has a catering license because he's running a food truck, right?
I don't, I would assume also, but I don't.
Well,
More work needed, but are we amenable to it if everything works out?
it looks all right, other than, I don't, is there a triple bay sink in there? That's the most important thing, it's a triple bay sink, and then you got the oven, you got the
There's a
Ansel
grease trap.
system. Yeah. There's a grease trap, it probably would pass like, but I think we're gonna leave that to him to make sure that's all passed, not us. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
So Michael, what would be the concern with the Legion using it on a Tuesday? The kitchen's isolated, except for the restroom.
wouldn't say it was a concern. It was just saying if they weren't able to be in there that night, they'd be willing to use them.
Tuesday, could you come up here? Legion?
Yeah.
Are we gonna be able to, should we meet with this guy maybe and ask him a few questions, or you feel good with it?
No, no.
Not good.
Do you,
I think Selectman Tempesta would make a great liaison.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I have the questions from him that are gonna be important to make sure that it's held to where we need it to be held, definitely. If you wanna leave that to me, I'll take that.
well, you can coordinate it with Katrina.
I'll coordinate it with Katrina. I can do that, Mike.
So with regard to the word liaison, one of the things I'd like to bring up is we're fast approaching Michael leaving. And as we discussed in our when we were talking with the consultants, that we would act as liaisons between the department and the board. As we're developing the town administrator position on a temporary basis and then ongoing. So what I'd like to propose is that we have 6 departments. Essentially, we have the town hall, we have the rec department, police, fire, DPW and recycling. And I'd like to propose that, given the fact that you're in transition, in other words, transitioning out, and somebody new is transitioning in, that you consider taking the rec department and the recycling department for the time being. And then that would transfer to the new selectman. And then I propose that Jim, because of his constant discussions with police and DPW and the 2 Joes, he won't get their names mixed up, that he take DPW and police, and that I would cover town hall and fire on the interim. What do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think it's a great idea. Because I said to you that maybe we need to fill into the town hall, and this is a good way to do that. And I would have no problem on my end. I have a good relationship with Joe and Joe, so I could handle those.
All right. What do you think, Sly?
Only problem might be town hall and fire getting short end of the stick on this.
They would definitely get the short end of the stick. There's no question.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
It makes sense versus all of you trying to pick up all of it, and then you have more chance of things potentially.
And we'll just leave it to come back to the table in so much time or whatever we feel is fit, or we can leave it there as,
We should be able to report every week,
yep.
I think.
Yes, that's.
It may not be anything more than a phone call.
Is to recall that, you don't want to be making decisions. It's for it to be a conduit back to.
Right.
Any deliberative session preparation?
Bruce had mentioned that it might be easier, but it's a little less to keep track of, that we have consistent people making the motion and seconding. So I didn't know if you wanted to assign that out. And then also to introduce each article. I gave you guys a little, which I'm sure you already probably didn't need, but a little, no, just any introduction. So maybe have like kind of Timmy, yeah. So the line at the front is for you to figure out who wants which one, and just to do the brief introduction. This is the budget. The budget is.
I'll move the motion, Sly will second, and Jim will explain.
No,
Jim will move the motion. You'll second. I'll explain.
let me
Just like
second,
we
let me
always do.
second. I want to
You always
second.
make the motion.
I know, but let Billy make the motion. He's good at that is.
All
You wanna do that?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, you can do that, and then I'll second it. And then after I second it, and then we go to the discussion about it for a little while, and then, right, just like we always do.
Well, no, it's different.
Oh, it is different.
So what Sly's gonna decide is if we want to speak to any of the articles, or
Are
whether
you
we
reading
just
this or
have
am I?
Michael.
The idea was that
Speak to the
one of you.
Because he's gonna do the presentation anyway.
So like you.
And that doesn't mean you
Jim
can't
does
say
five,
anything on
Bill
on
does
the
six.
article if it's not assigned to you. It's just like we did with the school board. with a couple
There'll
of
be
school board-
opportunity for some of the speakers after Michael,
Well, it's however Sly. wants it
whatever
set
slide
up.
that's at.
But during the discussion, you'd have the opportunity. This is just the formal part.
Okay.
How do you want to handle the zoning and planning articles and stuff?
normally unless someone has a question, we don't.
But you're just gonna walk us through those and say,
I wasn't.
we're not doing it, we're not doing it,
Yeah,
and that's, and then,
right.
okay. So you're gonna move the,
I'm gonna move the
move the
motion.
motion, everything,
Then I'm gonna say second.
second. And then we'll take turns reading this.
No,
No,
Bruce will take care of that.
No,
It's just,
No.
just,
so I was thinking each of you. would
oh,
just-
the explanation,
Yeah,
the
right.
summary. I got you.
I don't want to read that.
I'll do it then.
You'll do it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll say Jimmy says.
yeah,
Yeah, but then that allows you to then.
yeah, because I'm gonna be thinking in case I want to speak. I don't want to be.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's fine.
No problem.
Thank
got
you,
the stuff
Si.
right there.
You got it.
Any old business?
I do. I read it all today. I went up
Yeah,
and
that-
down it.
Think,
Any non-public sessions?
Anything you wanted to discuss with Cornell?
all done. He gave me the bad news.
Did he convince you?
Yes, no. Well, yeah, of course he did. He knows what he's talking about. I'm just guessing, but I'm just talking about what ought to be practical. But I do think that we should have Cordell as close to Bruce as possible.
He's as far away as possible.
I know, but I don't think that's
He
what we
doesn't
want. Are you able to hear all right, Cordell? Because it's.
What?
Exactly.
Good one.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Kind
I
of
can-
opened that door for you, didn't I? Yeah.
You did. I can, but I'll sit wherever you want me to.
This was a compromise. He wanted to be in the back row.
No,
Are we
I'm,
recessing?
I'm fine. If
Yeah,
you want me closer to the moderator.
Recess the meeting until after deliberative session. Who's the chair? Probably needs to go check in, right? Register.
Of course.
Tracy, did you register?
Right. I was surprised that was more than.
Yeah.
Forget you got to register to vote.
Tracy did so. That'd be, and I gotta go, yeah. He's gonna need a little more room. Probably should. Yeah, right, Chase?
What do you know, a lawyer? Yeah. And hearings. Mostly about welfare. Well, not, I take that back, nonprofits and things like that. And some of the proposed bills are exactly the same.
That's what I said. That's his. We'll figure if there are one for summer.
Summer.
Well, it's great for summer.
You won't be up there in the summer because you'll be alone.
It's the busy meeting.
You got an Uzi? You got an Uzi?
Nah. Hey, buddy. How you doing? All right?
Yeah. You? You think so?
We're trying to say it's.
Seven.
That's why I'm paying attention. I thought it was six.
So the school maybe.
I went, it helped. I was the assistant
Yeah.
moderator with Bill.
Yeah,
I counted
cool.
the votes. I learned a lot.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Rich, the whole town showed up.
Yeah.
They got the budget rate. That doesn't help. No, we're very careful.
Unless that's on.
You're in the right spot. Yeah, you can either swing by Michael's office during the week and fill out an agenda item. Or public input, you can bring it up. And then we'll do our research with police, DPW. Probably call you. And the next scheduled meeting to talk.
Thank you.
Yep. The best way is just follow the agenda. That would get you it out.
We can understand it. It doesn't make confusing for people too. And now it's gonna be a little, they're gonna have to see with no needs, no one's gonna figure it out.
Oh, my God. Get back the lawyers in here.
Yeah. Joe made, Jimmy made Joe and I said that. You go today to Concord today?
Yeah. Long day.
Long day? You just getting back a little while ago?
Yeah, around 5.
Jesus Christ, what do you do? Like 89 and
Yeah,
where do you start?
Korean food.
With?
Right around the corner from, yeah, Sue's getting that. Right around the corner from the State House next door.
You go in and eat? Or do you eat?
No. I've gone in to eat before, but,
Yeah.
this time I just get a couple of hand rolls to give them. That's like Korean sushi.
I never ate Korean food. We didn't eat that one in Keene, a Korean
No.
place.
Not that I know.
It's not
The
just,
Keene International Market sells some stuff.
Michael, did you see Joe's dinner tonight?
Was that?
Is that beautiful looking or what?
What do you say?
Joe called me and he said he wanted a dinner and he wanted to go to the back door and pick it up. Cause he was all alone. I got the new item, the fly that I bought. I got CAB fillet tips. So you take a filet mignon and you take the whole tenderloin and they cut the centers out. Those are your nice 8 ounce. And when they get to that point part, they pack them up into 3 ounce pieces and they put them in each cryo back and buy cases of them and then the fillet tips. Very soft, cooked nice, you know.
Dun, dun, dun. Good, and you?
Jump ship.
Kind of like what you did. Yeah, he'll come back, don't worry.
Do you help Bruce? Is that what you're doing? Good. So you stepped up into play? Some people step up.
Yeah, I do. I'll see that on. If I can do that. Yeah. All works. All right, so when I get done doing everybody, then you'll take over and introduce keep Joe. Pledge. Why should have our off-site conversations? So you're finishing your food sequence, right?
Fast, so they, Michael's incredibly, you know, relationship, and I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah.
He's gonna be tough to replace.
Yeah, he is. I'm gonna miss it too.
He's gonna be a big clutch fill, so it's a little nerve wracking to me, because I joined to join a team that was already established, so now the whole team's going to play. And I could miss a new minute, I'm not ready for it.
Oh, it's 5-0.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
So Bill made a very.
Yeah, he's been around. Well, yeah, that's, you know, when I 25, 30 years ago, I ran for the planning board in my town. I thought, you know, get on and learn gradually. Within 6 months, the chairman had resigned, and they decided that I was gonna be the chairman. Yeah.
This is what's happening. And I'm like, oh, this is not what I saw. I was like, oh my God, I'm all Google in my head. I just wanted to follow the lead, you know, and just put my little input and learn and develop.
Yeah, well,
It ain't going that way.
tell Bill, he has to at least serve out his term.
Of course he is, yeah, and he's really supportive, he's, you know, he's got me going, and making us learn faster, and that's a good deal to have. It's very good.
Did you go to the municipal associations? They have a workshop, local officials workshop. Do that, they're usually in May, April and May. Yeah, they're right after elections. Yeah, they're free. Yeah, it's strong.
How was your tips?
Yeah.
How was your sermon?
Very good. Very, very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be around to help. I'm too.
Thank you.
And I saw it a year ago. He posted. Travel. Oh, no, she was talking about her range.
No, but she was saying.
Well, she thought that's the sewer and somebody else said that's a storm.
And then she said, yeah, I called her. I said, hey. She finally signed.
Old and windy tonight. Complaining about Cobble Hill, is that rutted or just slick? Yeah, it's about everything, but what you did on top.
I was chewing the nails going up there. You literally. You know, all the guys. Went down Gun Hill. Slid.
I got the grant.
You can't. You're not staying there?
Somebody's got to work.
Switched out the lights.
Enough room?
That's plenty. Thank you.
I had the insurance sensitivity down today.
Glad you got something on your hip there. You and Joe will make a good team.
Tell me.
What time is it? It's only 5. It's 6:30.
Your word. It's a windows.
You could have brought him in downstairs. We could have sold off. Right, we paid the freaking bond off.
Yeah.
Jeez, we could have had a hell of a down payment.
That's the Jim White.
She said the association is like on their own. If you're contacting this product.
We gotta have an association.
I'll talk to, I guess.
now it's just. I don't think an association for a condo can go. For that, if the association was responsible for the street lights, that shouldn't be the town's responsibility. They may be, but how did they get them?
What condo?
Very-
I mean, they used to be Perry Lane Street.
Because that's what always, it always held us up from getting our.
No, I.
Oh, no. Don't do that. If you have Mike look back when we changed over to LEDs. It wasn't that long, it was only 10 years, I think. Are they all LED? Oh, they're all. Oh, they didn't. So yeah, I don't think we had them back then.
It is a little dark.
Do they look like what's on Main Street streetlights or regular streetlights?
No, we're.
Got a bucket for it. You can put the streetlights up and everything. Well, they go.
Like that. That area is just across, it's like this.
Swanzey Light and Power.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another bond, another TIF. But seriously, we should figure out how that happened because they always held us up.
Right.
Because they had to submit, what is that, whatever the form is.
Yeah, they had us for it, so we could get our taxes.
I was wondering if you can tell, it's definitely on the register. Last, you can tell. There's a set as far as she knows.
Did you get to meet Cordell? Yeah, so get his card because we need to find out when that transitioned into live. I don't know, maybe we did, maybe we voted to take it over, but I gotta believe I would have raised the question of an association going away. I mean, they got capital reserve funds that the association is responsible for aspects of those buildings.
And today I never changed to look at the tax bills to see what it's showing. Yeah, that will need to work at a lot more. Think 7 straight lights that.
It's a condo association, it's not our responsibility.
And why, I gotta find out how it's paying.
I could understand that it's a town road, that I could understand. Because we probably took that over, but we wouldn't have.
Lights just go.
And then any brushwork, that's them, that's not us. Seriously, it's an association. Whether they've disbanded it or not. Be interesting to see who the attorney is.
And Rush obviously helps us. Just back a year with the slightly. You don't see it when you drive them, you see the brush, so when the snow's on them and they're like this and you're barely getting on there, and you wonder why you can't get the road down. Cutting brush today, it's like California.
Oh, you're right.
Had to look over there. I'll have it like, just big condos, like the plastic.
Wow.
Take a picture of it, a little bit more in there. California.
Mhm. No rest for the weary. So did you hear that Jim's gonna be your liaison with the select board? Starting now. You and Joe. That way he won't mix up your names.
So
I don't know how long it will run, but it'll probably be through the summer. By the time the new town administrator gets up to speed. Yeah, we just engaged a consulting group called Rethink. And the individual, I can't think, do you remember Alex's last name? Anyway, the first name is Alex. He's been a town manager, town administrator. And he's gonna be, we gotta flesh that out 2 or 3 days a week at town hall to process paperwork and put agendas together and things like that. I'm sure we're gonna have to pick up some of the slack as well. And so we just divvied up the 6 departments. Excuse me, and then Sly will obviously do it until his term is up, and whoever comes in will pick up Sly's. Then we'll just go with it, see what happens. I talked to John Frederick. Do you know him? He's the town manager for Jeffrey. He said, we're gonna get flooded. I said, you guys do nuts. It's like, John, we've been through DPW twice. We've been through police. We've been through fire. We don't get a lot of applicants. He said, we'll get a lot. So we're like a stepping stone, but we're not where we were. We're up here now, and some people that are on their way up will pick us up, hopefully. So Bob Smith gave me the name of somebody in Vermont. I got to give him a call. Quite a few people have mentioned the lady, including John Frederick and Elizabeth Dragon, the lady in Range. Yeah, so there's her and Michael's a friend of his from their group. Well, yeah. So I don't know who else, but anyway, that's great. And that's more than we've gotten for some positions. Right.
Still talking about, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, for our budget too.
Yeah,
Would be
yeah.
very helpful. What do you think the timing is on this? By the end of March, we're done. Yeah.
You know, they were gonna go south, and we got the thing, somebody's out there, like, there, she doesn't take the line, and it went. There's no bad right away. I haven't heard anything.
Your camera's going up?
They went for signs, last week, they're operational, I'm waiting for the warning signs to go off, so they should be working by the beginning of next week. So we'll put them up by signs.
No blame.
I had a bad module, I couldn't get it working, so I had to get a new module, it's all working. And then, we've seen the.
I saw the keypad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so. I haven't looked at DPW to put a lot of plan aside for that over. So like, Megan, work with the resource person, all of them. So I think, but the door guy told me that the door is the frame starting to rust. So for a new door on a lock, it's like $700. But it worked. I don't want to pull the trigger on it until Megan gets it working. She's gonna upset when she's working. Says, "Oh, well, this is gonna work. I'll do the same thing." You know, tie right.
Oh, good. That'll be good. Looks like a pretty good. And you'll have a camera on the inside, so we know if somebody gave their code out.
I'll have a camera right on the outside. I have a camera on the outside of the doors, one shining at the salt bin and where cars go out now. And then one at the back.
Stuff you have to do that you never had to do.
No, I know. Like I said, for years. Like, yeah, we had put more foam on the fire line. But for years, we had all that. That's why I brought it. My fire, sure.
Let me introduce you to Cordell.
Right there.
Take your time. Take your time. Jim's got a hold of him. He'll never get away.
Yeah, real good.
Joe, this is Cordell.
We've talked quite a few times.
Oh. Joe was at DPW.
Yeah. Good to meet you as well. Thanks for the work, Max. So rather interested. I haven't talked to Joe since the hearing. I hope so. Still need to be quiet about that. Yeah, I like your idea. I like your approach.
Billy, if we want to go up and talk a little on a subject, we can get up, we go right over there. We can do it right here. Is that how you're gonna do it if you talk? Because you're gonna talk about a couple of subjects, aren't you?
Depends on the mood of the crowd.
Right.
We'll meet with the engineers and Joe was there.
But yeah, these,
I said, Joe.
what does this mean? Does a red mean it's on?
Yeah, because they're not on, see?
Well, is it Mike Randy and I? That sounds like Joe. No. So anytime we have like what your planning's done, like Joe around there. See that? I was looking forward to don't believe a word. No. I used to do excavation work, then I had my law enforcement career, and here I am back. Scott.
See ya. That was the whole thing. People didn't understand. But it wasn't just mine. I was the coordinator of all the school district moderator. You know, for the town. Oh, they're not for me. So.
Audio.
Good evening, folks. At this time, hi? Yeah. Well, sit up here. Well, they told me they would get me a microphone this year, but they didn't tell me it wasn't gonna work. Is the technician for the sound system here? Oh, he is here, so. Either that or I don't know how to run this.
It's long story short, there's no speakers tonight, but the audio recording is really. Speakers are outside.
Well, you'll have to speak up, I guess. So will I. So welcome to the 2025 deliberative session. Thank you for taking the time to attend. I'm the town moderator, Bruce Tatro. We're broadcasting the meeting live and is being recorded, although to participate, vote, or make motions, people must be physically present. Has everybody registered that came in, signed in with the checklist? All right, good. Let's see. The evening's meeting is the first session of this year's annual town meeting. The purpose of this session is to determine the form of warrant articles that will be presented to voters at the polls on March 11th in the Monadnock Regional School District Gymnasium. Before we begin this evening, I'd like to recognize some of the town officials and employees helping out this evening. First off is the supervisors of the checklist. Linda Faulkner and Lee Dunham. Linda's not here. Those present at tonight's session should have checked in before coming upstairs. If you have not checked in, I already said this 3 times, to make sure you check in. If we have any ballot request for a ballot vote on any of the items, the
Bob,
Lee and Linda will be taking care of the ballots as far as getting them out and collecting them. We have a ballot box. The ballot box is up back. So just like regular voting. If you request a yes or no paper ballot, it must be submitted prior to an article's vote in writing with the signatures of 5 voters who are present. If a paper ballot vote is called for, we'll go over the rules at that time. I'd like to invite the Vice Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Bill Hotwalker, to the podium. Bill will recognize Sly's retirement after 9 years as a selectman and transitioning. There's no role, new role as a state representative.
You already did it.
You're talking to the
Talking to
mic.
that. Well, many of you know Sly as our representative at the Swanzey Christmas, as he reads the Christmas carol to all of your kids and grandkids. But I know him as a selectman who came in 2016, and I've sat proudly by him all those years. He's chaired the selectmen 3 times. He's been a great leader. And I think we owe him a tremendous debt of gratitude. He's gone on and now he's taken the big pay raise up to $100 a year plus mileage to work on our behalf at the State House. So I hope you'll join me in thanking Sly for all he did for us. Brief few announcements. Okay, I have a few brief announcements. I'm going to ask that any side conversations that take place because of the problems we're having with hearing take place outside of the main hall due to the acoustics. So that might also mean going downstairs. Guess I'm going to go right into Michael. I don't have a very good list here. Yep. But first I'm going to do Michael. I want to recognize Michael. As most of you probably heard, he's leaving us. He's going to Wyndham as bigger, better prospects. Michael came here over 10 years ago. And when he came in, we were in the process of inventorying all our critical infrastructure in town and looking at the bills that we were going to have to pay for everything from dams to roads, bridges, culverts that the state now said are bridges, buildings, Whitcomb Hall, Main Street, Hale Hill Road. That was a good one. That was a culvert that they said that's a bridge now. So we rebuilt Hale Hill Road, which was never really built to begin with. That worked out so well. Michael talked us into doing Eaton Road. And he's done a lot for this town in 10 years. And if you just look back at what it was and where we're at now, I think we all owe him a debt of gratitude, and we are going to miss him. So thank you, Michael.
I'd like to just say something to add to Michael. I'm the new guy, and you all know that. But I'll tell you, Michael made my job so much easier coming into this, and more than anybody, I'm gonna miss him the most, because I feel that way, because he really guided me and taught me a lot, what's going on the other side of this whole thing. I've always sat over there, and I've seen a lot over here, but Michael, I'm gonna thank you, and I'm gonna miss you quite a bit. Thank you.
Okay, now I'd like to recognize our town officials again. I'm Sly Karasinski, Chair. Bill Haltwalker and Jimmy Tempesta, Selectman. Town Administrator Michael Branley, we just met. And Town Council Cordell Johnson. Town Clerk Heather Estrella. Right over there. Deputy Town Clerk Ashley Patnode. Police Chief Joe Gonzalez. Fire Chief Eric Matson. Public Works Director Joe DeRusso. Solid Waste Manager Josh Whipple. Is he here? Working? Finance Director Teresa Launder. Tax Collector and Emergency Management Director Kevin Westcott. Town Planner Adam Paquette. Assistant Town Planner Stefan Mayhew. Recreation Director Ashley Crosby. Don't get up. And I think they all deserve a round of applause. All yours.
Thank you, Sly. I would now ask everybody rise, and the police chief, Joe, is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, where are we? I think they glued them together. The first session meeting rules. Handouts, which include the warrant articles to be considered at this evening's meeting, are available in the back of the hall. We're going to establish a few guidelines similar to those we have used at the past meetings for this evening's session as follows. Number one, everyone should treat each other with respect, please. Before asking a question or making a statement, please make your way to the microphone in the center and identify yourself for the record. If you would like to speak next, please make your way to line up. You do not need to wait until the person before you finishes. Also, in other words, you can just stack up and take your turn. Non-voters, which I don't believe we have any of tonight, cannot speak at the meeting without permission of the meeting. So we have someone that wants to address. I will ask you folks if it's all right for them to talk. And you can go yes or no. But I don't believe we have anybody tonight that's going to be here. As at past meetings, the moderator will allow town staff to provide information or address questions which may arise during the course of the meeting. Running debates will not be allowed. Remarks and questions should go through the moderator. If during the meeting you disagree with the ruling of the moderator, you may request that the House be polled. This is the voters' meeting, and the voters may overrule the moderator. With respect to motions for reconsideration, a motion to reconsider will be considered in order if made within 10 minutes of declaring the result of the original vote. We will be protecting the wording of each article, projecting the wording of each article, and will forego reading them. When we get to an article, it will be projected on the screen, and I'll ask for a motion and a second. I will then open the floor for discussion of amendments. Any amendments to an article will need to be submitted to the moderator in writing, and amendments will be voted on one at a time. The amended article will be put on the projector and now will be debated and voted on. Additional discussion and amendments will then be allowed. When the voters are done with amendments and discussion, I will then call for the vote. Finally, I will declare the result of the vote, and we will move forward to the next item of business. State law requires all articles on the warrant to be voted by official ballot, so motions to pass over or postpone indefinitely are beyond the authority of the first session and will be ruled out of order. Article 1 is the election of officers, and Article 2 and 3 are zoning amendments, which do not need to be discussed tonight. Our first item of business is Article 4. Look at that. Which is now displayed on the screen.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 4 for debate.
Motion's been moved for debate on Article 4. Do I have a second? Second for you. Okay. Article 4 is now open for debate.
I can speak to it, Mr. Moderator.
Go ahead.
This article represents a $3.5 million project for a fire station to replace station number 2 in the basement of Town Hall, using a $2.5 million bond. This design was put together by a citizen committee who worked to develop the most cost-effective solution that met the project's core goals: getting the fire station out of the basement of Town Hall, providing a safe and clean facility for the fire department, and being responsive to the taxpayers. The cost for this article is the same as saving $300,000 per year for a new fire station, which without inflation will take 10 more years.
Any further discussion on Article 4 with the fire station? Anyone else wish to speak? Visit the microphone, please. Even though they don't. We pretend.
It's been voted down 6 times. And I wonder, how long does it take? Or how do you recognize the fact that no is the answer? We voted it down. Here it is again. If it gets voted down this year, it'll be 7 times. And I think that's a bit much. You ought to look outside the box for some other way of having the fire department out of Town Hall. Now, 30 years ago, when I was town clerk, I complained about the diesel smell. It was overwhelming anytime there was a fire. Nothing was done. They said, oh no, they came in when the fire trucks weren't running. No carbon monoxide. Had they had been there during the time I complained, when there was a fire call, they would have smelled it. They couldn't have helped it. It was not only the diesel, but when you leave there every afternoon with a headache and sick to your stomach, there's something wrong. 30 years ago, you wouldn't have been in the problem that you have today of finding a location. I'm asking that you think this over again and vote this down. The location is terrible. You're putting a Swansea Center Fire Department in North Swansea. That's always been part of North Swansea since I've been living here. And that's a good long time. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
In answer to your question, Carol, we haven't gotten 60%, which is required for the bond, but we've gotten over 50% every time. So the majority of the people want it. It's just trying to figure out a way to get it.
I'm Carolyn Noah. I live on Bellevue Road, and I'm sorry to disagree with my good friend Carol, but I think we need to vote yes for this station. We've lived here as long as we've been voting on this, and every year there's a huge effort to make it the design more responsive to what people say we need. How many of you went to the open house for the fire stations? Did you feel that they were going to be able to protect your house if it got on fire? It is so lacking in everything that is needed. Space, room for engines, room for safety, and a way to prevent people from being exposed to chemicals, both upstairs and down. So I'm going to vote. I support this. I ask you to support it. I want my fire department to be responsive if I have a fire, and they need our help to get there. Thank you.
Thank you.
I've been selecting for a short period of time, but I feel 100% we have to move this. And the reason I say that is because all it's gonna do is keep holding us back on other things. We kicked this can around for enough of years. You all have to understand, we are saving the money. This is gonna be on no impact to the taxpayers. We're already saving this money. So whether we save the money for 10 years, get the fire station in 10 years, where it's gonna cost us a lot more money, or we get it now. Now, we can argue about the location, the size of the building, we're never gonna satisfy everybody. But there's a majority of people here that know we need a fire station, we know we need to get it out of there. Let's get it done, move on to the next issue of this town. The problem we're having, if this keeps coming up like this, we're not gonna get anything else done because this is lingering. Let's move ahead. That's how I feel about it. And I think we gotta stop kicking this can around, and it's gonna be no impact on the taxpayers, we're gonna be putting this money away every year. So it's either now or 10 years, and we pay $10 million for it. That's how I feel about it.
Thank you.
Bob DeRosa from East Swansea, and I'm a current candidate for a selectman. I feel that I don't agree with the location up there. And but there's more of a problem to the fire department than just the building. You have a problem with the management of the fire department. Starts right at the top. And I will give you an example, and then you can fill in the blanks. We had a fire chief here, was Henry. He served for about 30 years. I'm not exact when he started, when he stopped, but I think it was somewhere in the mid 90s. So he was here for about 30 years. So for the next 30 years, we've had 6 chiefs. So what does that tell you? 1 chief for 30 years, and then we're on our 6th chief for 30 years. We'll leave you with that to wonder about, because that's the other problem.
I'm just gonna interject on the first one. Discussing a fire station. This board is firmly committed to the leadership that we have. Eric and his team with Mick and Mike and Norm have done a fabulous job. They pulled us out of a situation that was very contentious. They've been successful in bringing firefighters back who had left based on previous management. We're fully supportive of them. And any criticism of them in a meeting like this is grossly unfounded. They're doing a hell of a job and they deserve our appreciation. Sir.
Hi, Jay Ward, Swansea resident and the chair of the Fire Station Committee. I'd like all the members of the committee to please stand, all those who are here. We met since July. We've met quite frequently, and we looked at how best to solve the fire station problem in Swansea. As Sly said, we're close the last 6 years. We're close to getting this fire station approved, but we couldn't satisfy enough people to do that. So we came up with a design which was better. We chose a location which was the least expensive location, and we worked with the architects and others to come up with a station which solved the problem. The problem was we cannot keep the engines in the building. It has nothing to do with the numbers of people in the fire department or past history of things that happened in the past. We have a present problem, and we have to solve the problem we have at present. And that problem is the fire station has to be replaced. Fire station number 2 has to be have an alternate location. Any other place but the place we chose is going to cost more. How much more? I don't know. How much does land cost these days? But more than that, the land would have to be, the purchase of the land would have to be approved by the town. And it would just mean it would go on for another year or two or whatever. So in terms of getting this thing solved quickly, efficiently, with the best design possible, we came up with what the proposal is here. And as was pointed out by Sly, we've been putting the last 3 years or so, the town has been putting aside money toward the capital reserve fund for the fire station. And if we continue to do that, it's the same amount of money that would be paid to service the bond in this case. It's no tax impact. Your taxes will not go up next year because of the fire station. So please support the fire department. The contributions from the members of the fire department who were in this committee were amazing. And these are amazing people who do the best they can for the town. And we really need to support them and the future of the town by voting this fire station in. Thank you.
I agree with the need for a new fire station. My question is, Jim has said that it won't impact the tax bills for next year. Oh, okay, because your handouts say it's 15 cents on 1,000.
I can do it, Jim, if you want.
So will it
It's-
affect our taxes?
Well, what the increase is $150,000 a year. But right now, in the last 3 years, I think, Michael came up with this idea of putting $150,000 from the fund balance, which is the monies that we were approved to spend, but we haven't spent year over year, and another $150,000 a year. So we've been putting away $300,000 a year. So that helped lower the cost for the fire station this time. And like I had read in the beginning, if we don't approve it and we just want to wait 10 years, we could keep putting away $300,000 a year with no increase in taxes next year or the year after, because we're doing it now. It's the same as this year.
Right.
And, over 10 years, we would have the $3 million, but
And the cost of
it's going to
building.
cost more. So,
Okay,
thank you.
Hi, Mike York. I want to do a personal thing about the chief, the fire chief. I had 2 medical episodes at my house this last summer. One of them put me in the hospital, 4 days in the intensive care, and another 10 days in the hospital. The chief was there. He was right there to help me to make sure that I got the care that I needed until the ambulance came. So I thank him very much from the bottom of my heart. The other thing is the cost of land today. Any realtor, and I was one in the past, will tell you that land in Swansea is going anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 per acre. If you want a 4 or 5 acre property for a fire station, you're talking about a huge amount of money that we'd have to come up with. This option, we already own the property.
there anyone else cares to speak?
Dan Kaufman, Swanzey, good evening. I came here with the intention tonight of making a motion to reduce the overall cost of this fire station proposal by $500,000. And the reason why I think that is because I think there's a mind block on this $3 million number. I've felt like that for years. Note that I voted for every one of these proposals every time we voted. And whether it's 6 or 7 or it ends up being 8 or 9, I don't know where we're going to be. I hope we pass it anytime soon would be great for me. But I think just for consideration of the body and of the board, I feel like there's something in our town that has just got a mental block on $3 million or above that. And it's people, whether it's opinions on how we're running the place or not, I happen to enjoy these guys. You know, many of them I've met, many of them have helped me doing things in my time of need. So I'm down with all that. That's why I voted up each time. However, I feel like our townspeople have a problem with either it's fear of shiny metal object syndrome, meaning we got too much of that. We don't need any shiny buildings to go with it. I don't know what it is, but I think we got a fear of something north of $3 million. If we have to do this again, I would urge the body to get closer to that number. Whether that's possible or not, I have no idea. But I have some experience with it. I think my personal opinion is I think it would pass if it was $3 million, and I don't think we'd have to worry about it. I think it'd be 65%. I don't think it'd be 60. I think it'd be 65. It'd be almost 70. That's my personal opinion. So I don't like 3.5, but I am going to vote for it. What I do like is the fact that we already own a piece of land, and I think whatever we put up should be on the piece of land we own. That is further from my home, I would say, as well. So is it a service to me to be further from my home? No, but I think it makes the most sense from our town business point of view. Back to what maybe I don't like is I don't like being taxed on something, meaning we're using money. I think Mike had a great idea. However, I don't like the idea of being taxed for something that was voted down, meaning we tax our folks in the town and put the money over here where they said don't put the money. But they voted for you to have the ability to do that. It's the funniest thing. I just think people don't know what the heck they were doing. So I don't know if that is a mindset of some folks as well, but I don't like having to pay that, whether it's $300,000 a year, $150,000 a year, whatever it is. And the rest of our townspeople said, please don't do that. That's it.
2 points.
Yes, sir.
Great minds think alike. I think it was 3.9 million. And this guy said 3.5.
Mm.
So we've already cut down a lot of stuff, Jay can tell you. The second thing is putting money in the capital reserve account for future fire stations. 1970, when they put the fire station underneath the town hall, in their infinite wisdom,
Brilliant.
this body created capital reserve fund to build a fire station. They never put any money in it. So yeah, we're putting money in it. We put money in other capital reserve funds because it's part of the overall plan that we need some money to get things started. And then we need the bond on these big projects. So
yeah, I mean, I certainly appreciate that, understand the rationale, but I think that's what keeps us from being able to move forward of the things that are keeping us.
But it's not just us. It's, you know, this is all transparent. It's in the warrant articles
every year.
every year. The same with our road plan. We put money away to do roads. We also bond some roads. So, and then the operating budget does more roads. So, you know, there's a lot of roads.
So that's my thoughts on where we're going with this. I hope we pass it, you guys. I hope we get something. I wish it was a different design. That's not up for debate at the moment, but I hope we get it. And if we don't, and we have to go through this again, please somebody call me. I'd like to participate. I was sleeping and didn't participate this time around. I wish I would have. I regret that I didn't, but certainly would welcome a phone call.
Hey. Anyone else want to speak for the first time? Bob, you want to speak again pertaining to this article, please?
First of all, I would I'd like to say to Mr. Hutwell, I take your comments very negatively. We've been on several things surrounding the department. My references to the chiefs, it has nothing to do with the present one. My reference to was showing that one was here for 30 years and we've had 5 going on 6 within 30 years. And especially shows how long they've been here, which is not very long. We've had three locals, we've had 2 from the outside, and now we have our current one. So I was basically just trying to show there hasn't been any long-term chiefs like before. Getting back.
Yeah, I got it, Paul. This has nothing to do with the building and bonding of the fire station. Sounds like operations differences. So I would have to rule.
I was going there next. Okay.
No one else chooses to speak? Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion to.
I'll second it. I already did.
Yeah, I did. All right, we have a motion to approve this warrant article. Any further discussion? I see none. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Thank you. Okay, moving on. Article 5.
Mr. Moderator, I'll move Article 5 to the floor for debate.
Motion is made and seconded to bring Article 5 forward. Do we have discussion?
Mr. Moderator, this article is a $6.4 million low-interest loan through the state with a 40% forgivable principal to purchase and improve the West Swanzey Water Company. A grant-funded study identified the system's needs, which are a pump house and storage tank. The current owners want to sell the system to the town. Town ownership will provide stable management for the users and will lead to improvements that will help maintain the current operation and will allow for future potential for commercial expansion in the area due to increased capacity for fire flows. The cost of this article is expected to be paid for by the users of the system through user fees. 40% forgivable funding is not expected to be available in the future, and if Article 12 is not approved by the voters, this item cannot be reconsidered for 2 years. This is an opportunity for Swanzey, which is unlikely. We're unlikely to get this again, and will likely come back in the future with a higher cost.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I just want to say one thing about this. I think this is the most important article that we have on the warrant, and I'm gonna tell you why. This is spelling out that we're gonna get 40% forgiveness, which sounds like a lot of money. Again, we're gonna do this without any impact on taxpayers. This is for the future, that you gotta think that we're gonna bring businesses to this town, which that's what we want. Route 10, that's where it's gonna grow. Do we want tattoo parlors and little stores, or do we want a nice big company to come in and bring 150 people and they go to work here? We can't do that unless we have water. So that's the step that we're gonna take to make our budget even stronger, because we're gonna get more tax money. So this is the most important thing we vote on, and I think the town's gonna realize this, that it's gonna help us out greatly to entice businesses to come to our town, which businesses like Webb, that was great for our town. It's gonna give us a lot of tax money. If we put an apartment complex in there, we have all those people we have to take care of. A business is low impact on this town for service and everything like that, but we have nothing to offer businesses to come here.
If we're gonna go fishing for businesses, we need some bait. The bait is having water and sewer on Route 10 especially. And this is gonna make everything better in years to come. So I urge you all to vote for this because it's gonna be very important. This is handed to us now. And I know there's people out there that are saying, oh, we got water, but we got nowhere to put it. I get that, but we're gonna have to get to that part. This is two parts, water and sewer. But this is the part we need to take care of now. It's here now. This opportunity might not ever come across us again. And this is gonna be something in a few years, it's gonna come back to us and it's gonna be kicking the can again. We're gonna be sitting here saying, we wish we did it. And it's gonna keep coming back to haunt us that we don't have the right water and the pressure and all this in this town. So I urge everybody to tell everybody and explain to everybody how important this is and we vote yes on this. Thank you.
Any further?
Yeah, my name is Dave Jones, on Causeway Road. My question has to do with the purchase price, 600,000. Where'd that number come from?
That number is. It's a number that was presented to us. It has not been negotiated.
I see. Okay, because when I look at the assets and the income, it's nowhere close to that number. It
It's-
sounds like a big,
Sly can speak to the cost of drilling a well and
Yeah.
providing municipal service.
DES, before inflation, DES always kind of quoted, if you were gonna site a well and drill it and make it producing potable water, it was $1 million. So they have 2 wells there. And granted, the pipes are old, the pressure tank isn't, what we want. We want to put a storage tank up a hill so that gravity could provide water to the fire hydrants in case the power goes out. And you're buying the land, the franchise, basically, to provide water to the 90 connections or whatever's there. Some of them are big apartment buildings. So $600,000 in that area is not out of line.
look,
That actually probably a pretty good deal.
if their assets are listed at 255, 828.
Yeah.
It does not include the wells and the pumps and all that stuff?
I mean, if we didn't do that, if if it wasn't there, okay, because of the franchise issue, we can't put in a water system in their franchise area. But suppose it wasn't there. If we just wanted to go out and put in a well
Mhm.
and start running some pipe to people, $600,000 wouldn't even get us the well. And, and buying the land to have the well, because you have to have 600 feet around it.
But that's not the case here.
What's that?
That's not the case here. It exists now
Right.
and you're gonna buy it from someone.
And I think it's half the cost of what it's probably valued at.
I don't understand.
I'm just saying that if they were selling a well that produced drinkable water, it would be $1 million. Because that's what it would cost for the town to put one in. To drill a well and develop it.
But that's why you buy it from someone else.
Okay,
And
Well-
not put it in yourself.
we're having running debate
Yeah, sorry.
and it's
All right,
going to
thank
take care of. I think your question was answered.
Barbara Scully, West Swansea. So once this water company is purchased and all the upgrades are made, there's going to be annual costs involved with running and operating. There's testing. I'm sure you're going to have to hire a licensed operator. So what are the anticipated costs annually for this? And who's going to be paying for those? Just the water users?
Just like the North Swansea Water and Fire Precinct, the people that live in the precinct pay for the water use, and the operator, the testing, the repairs, everything. So if you live in the water precinct in North Swansea, you pay for that. If you live over here in West Swansea and you're connected to the system, you're going to pay this bill.
So what's the anticipated cost to the user then? Do we have any idea what that will be?
Right. So the current operations, I don't know exactly what that number is, but North Swansea has an annual budget of about $500,000 a year. So, and it's a much larger system.
Thank you, Si.
Stephen Biddle, just to clarify purchase price of the water company. It's a subject I looked into in some detail, as I was originally a little nonplussed by the 600,000. You have to understand there's an accounting basis, something I've done a little bit of in my life, and a valuation basis. The accounting basis and the whole thrust of their statements show really a distressed company. And they're that way because the PUC, quite frankly, makes them that way. To look at the accounting numbers for a valuation is literally meaningless. The value is in the water rights and the permitted wells. And I think, frankly, after looking at it a lot, it's probably worth perhaps more, and could be worth more to an outside purchaser who would come in and start bottling water, something that could happen. So I understand the problem that someone could have looking at their statements. And when you look at the statements, frankly, they're pretty grim. But they have literally little to nothing to do with the value. I would also add that the assessed value that the town has, I believe, is around $500,000. Michael, yeah. So we're valuing it at virtually the same price. That's just to clarify matters.
Thank you. Anything further? Hi. Uh-oh.
I support this, this endeavor 100%. I think as a reason looking at the 600,000, I think we have to look at what the Browns have done for West Swansea. Not only their involvement with Cutler School and bringing the water over to the mill, and also any of the ball field over there, Brown Field. So the Browns have done a lot for the town. So I feel 600,000 is not a big price to repay them. And also on capital improvements for the town in this sort, I'd like to see all capital improvements that are in the 7 figures borne by the whole town. Even if it's over here, I don't have a problem myself paying part of that 4 million over the 30 years. But I think that might make it more palatable for all of us, to help pay for that way. Spread that whole cost over the whole town. Because we're gonna end up doing the sewer plant too, and that's gonna be a 7-figure deal. So that's just my opinion.
Thank you, Bob. Uh-oh. Go ahead.
West Swansea here. And I've been associated with the mill and the water company for quite a while. I know that system pretty much. There are 2 wells there. There's a third well that they haven't used, which is more capacity than the other 2 wells. Those two wells there are 350 gallon a minute wells. They've been in there since the 60s. Proven wells. They deliver a lot of water. Sorry, they deliver a lot of water. When they ran the mills down there, they used it for all their dyeing processes down there. And they would fill those kettles, 1,000-gallon kettles, with a 4-inch pipe, all of them running at the same time. And those wells never faltered at all. And the infrastructure that's in there, the pipes in there, they're cement asbestos pipes, which sounds bad, but it isn't. Unless you get the dust in your face, but you don't, because the pipes are buried in the ground. And those have been proven as well. They've been in the ground since the 60s. They're all in sand. To my recollection, they've never broken at all. They don't rust out. And anytime we've bored into them to make a connection, they've been perfect on the inside, no closure at all. So that part of the system is good. And you've got those two wells, gravel packed wells, and that and the infrastructure in the ground is well worth it. The other thing is, I'm on the planning board, and we need infrastructure, we need water on that Route 10 there. And we're never gonna get it with a private water company because, as was stated before, the PUC won't allow them the same advantages that the town has. PUC makes them go out and get a loan, market rate values, to do their infrastructure and expansion, and then they can raise rates if they let them to cover that cost. Town is better. The town can get grants, the town can do a lot more. Not even working, is it? Okay, sorry about that. The town can do a lot more with that system, a lot easier. They can get grants, as I said. And again, with the private water company, they aren't going to have the money and they aren't going to be able to expand that water down to Route 10. And that's going to just stay as it is. And we need that infrastructure. So I'm in favor of it, as you can tell.
I don't know if all of us could hear that, but I'm not going to ask for it to be repeated. Anybody else wish to chime in on it? Move the question? Who moved the question? Paul? Okay. Then moved, seconded to call the question. Yes, all those in favor of the article for the water treatment? Say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Now we're on what?
Moderator, I move Article 6 to the floor for debate.
Article 6 has been moved to the floor for debate and seconded. Anyone wishing to speak to it?
I will, Mr. Moderator. Article 6 is a $100,000 forgivable loan through the state to fund a stormwater capital improvement plan. This plan will identify priority stormwater projects and will help put the town in a position for grants to help fund them. Thanks to 100% principal forgiveness, this article is expected to have minimal cost to the town. Basically, just a little bit of interest until the principal gets forgiven.
Further discussion? Question's been moved and seconded. Without objection, we'll go to the vote. All over in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 7 to the floor for debate.
Been moved and seconded, Article 7 to the floor for debate. Any discussion?
Mr. Moderator, Article 7, this article is this town's operating budget of $8,370,000, which is an increase from 2024 of 5.1%. After the budget hearing, the selectmen reviewed the budget and identified decreases based on the accounting for vacant positions to lower this article over $300,000. The major increases in the recommended budget are employee-related costs, additional payroll in the Department of Public Works, increased need for general assistance, and higher welfare costs. An additional payroll in the recreation department. The major decrease is in the insurance budget based on the change in budgeting for vacant positions. Reducing the budget further or voting for the default budget will negatively impact the town's ability to provide core services.
Think further on the budget. Seeing none, and entertain a motion. Motion's been made and seconded to approve Article 7 as as presented to us with no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Moderator, I move Article 8 to the floor for debate.
Moved and seconded to move Article 8 to the floor for debate. This is for the capital reserve.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Moderator, Article 8 is the first article appropriating funds to the town's capital reserve and expendable trust that help finance the 6-year capital improvement plan as recommended by the Capital Improvement Committee. This article saves $477,500 in various accounts not associated with Department of Public Works. Not associated with Department of, okay. These include capital expenses for the police, fire, recycling departments, town facilities, and other purposes.
I can offer an amendment to this article. I've got it in writing here.
You have an amendment?
Yes.
May I have it, please?
Want the overall amendment reduced by 75,000, 402,500. And I'd like to remove the money that's going to earmark to the Goldenrod Range Hall.
Did you have the emotion? Yeah. Motion written out? Oh, okay. I see it. So the motion is to reduce Article 8's funding. Oh, okay. The major effect is zeroing out the Goldenrod Range Hall amount. Further discussion?
Second.
Yeah. Go ahead.
With the expense and the money we're looking to spend in the town, and the amount of money it's going to take to rehab that building, I don't feel it's money we should be spending right now. $75,000 is minimal to what that structure needs. If you've ever been in it, it's in terrible shape and its life has really gone by. I know we've spent a lot of money out in the past year, but at some point we've got to stop and we've got other priorities. Fire stations, the water situation, all these other things that we really should be focusing on. Yes.
Thank you. I did have a question earlier. Do you have an accounting of what? I think it was what we do last year, 150,000 or so. 150 of what that money was used for.
Fix the roof and the,
And that's been accomplished. Okay, answered that question. Anything further? Go ahead, Jane.
Most of you know I'm Jane Johnson, and every year I stand to support working to preserve the Grange Hall. And we have inched away at it for the last 15 years, probably, giving it very little. And it is a historical building. Something that impresses me about our town is that we have a wonderful history in this town dating back to the days of the Indians. The Grange Hall stands right in the middle of the early settlement of Swanzey Center. This doesn't mean as much, I grant you, as an operating fire department and the operating water department, but I think it's something that we need to consider. We need the water, we need the fire department. I would do nothing to take away from that. But at the same time, we need to appreciate the place where we live, where our forefathers lived and settled, and tearing down the Grange Hall for what? The land isn't really big enough for anything wonderful that we need, and we have invested money in it. And I notice that on the proposed town operating budget, in a line item for culture and recreation, we're adding to that every year. And what better place to employ things related to culture and recreation than the Grange Hall? And I would beg to differ with the previous speaker that it is not a wreck inside. It is not Whitcomb Hall. We don't expect it to be Whitcomb Hall. It doesn't need shiny floors, and it doesn't have tin walls and ceilings. It's very common because Grangers were common working people, and they, with their own labor of their backs, built that building. And I guess you can see, I think it should continue. Thank you.
Sir.
Bruce Bergstrom, Swansea, of course. Yeah, I certainly appreciate historical properties. I love historical properties. But I mean, life is full of choices, and these are tax dollars, and it's a lot of tax dollars. And it sounds to me like this is a money pit. And, you know, where do you draw the line? I mean, it's, you know, it's a, you know, probably was a nice building at one point in time, but now, you know, we've got a lot of things to spend money on, and that seems like not the right spot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Scott Self again. And yeah, we just put a new roof on that building. And I'm not in favor of tearing that building down and just put a new roof on it. The roof will hold the building for a long time. You know, you got a good roof on the building will maintain. So I don't have really a problem with taking the 75,000 away from it for this year. Let them fundraise for a while like we did on Whitcomb Hall here. But to forget the building, I'm not in favor of that. It's a historical building for the town.
Bob? Yeah. Let's see.
Jim McConnell. I think the real question is it economically repairable? And I haven't heard an estimate of what it's going to cost to repair this, to put it in the condition that we would need to have it in to make it something that would be serviceable and useful. So I don't know if anybody has one, but I'd like to know what it is. Closing in on $1 million. Thank you.
I'd like to speak in favor of it. We've put a new roof on it. It looks good. I guess at this point, I'd like to ask Norm if he, yeah, come on up. I was gonna ask you to come up and as the chairman and explain where you are with it. And
Thank you.
at this point, if we had the foundation and where you can, I know you, Everett Lounder.
Are you through, Bob?
Running bait.
Yeah.
You either gotta sit down or I do. My name's Norm
You wanna
Scantling,
run
and
it?
I
Come on.
served as the selectmen's, as the chairman of the Selectmen's Advisory Committee for the Grange. And there's 4 of us that were appointed to this committee, Linda Minichello, Eileen Lange, and Lillian Chichilla. And the 4 of us have been meeting as a committee for the past 2 years, twice a month. And basically, the way this started is the town hired Petrovic architectural firm to come in and do an assessment of the building. I don't remember what that plan cost, but he came through and he used structural engineers and he used other experts to look at the building. And they basically came up with a plan that said it would cost like 1.3 million to do a historic renovation of the building. Faced with that, the committee met with the selectmen, and the selectmen said, there's no way we're doing a $1.2 million restoration of the building that will never pass the town meeting. And we said, it's been in continuous use since 1916. And the Swanzey Preservation Society, the Garden Club, various other organizations, and now Coffee Connections, which is a service that's put on weekly for senior citizens. We've had the Bluegrass Festival there. And the building does get used. It's not as terrible as it sounds. And I would invite you, we've made a mistake, and I apologize that we haven't been able to get people into the building. It's not a conditioned building. There's no heat and there's no restrooms. But during the summertime, we use the building quite a bit. And we had a problem with water coming through the roof. And I know that some people in the community felt, we got to you do the foundation first. But the problem was we literally had water pouring through the roof. So a decision had to be made. And we stood up last year and asked for the money to fix the roof. And it was not my intention to come to this meeting tonight and ask for any money, because we just finished that project and we had some money in capital reserve. However, the next step on our master plan approved by the selectmen was to get the building watertight. Okay, so we had a little problem with water running into the basement, which was a drainage problem. We had windows that we wanted to restore, historically restore correctly. And we wanted to do the roof, which we accomplished. We have applied for a lot of grants and we've been denied because we don't have programs. We can't have programs because it's not a conditioned building. So what we've been doing, coordinating with the selectmen, is do a little bit as we can. So if you want to reduce this article, nobody on the advisory committee or the selectmen probably will be upset, but I know they want to paint it. And I know people in town have told me many, many times they want that building painted. And I know that there's a lot of people in the town that love that building. So I think I understand what is being said. Maybe we could raise less money. We weren't asking for that, but I think the selectmen in their position felt that was an appropriate amount of money. So, whatever you do will be fine, but we're going to keep working on it and keep chipping away, keep trying to raise money and keep trying to get grants. We actively pursuing grants with the town. They're the ones that are applying for it. That town building, you own it. There's no club. This isn't a 501c3. It's a town building.
Thank you. Just
Steve Biddle again.
I need to clarify what Bob was talking about here. You get up and you said that you were in favor of this. Are you in favor of the reduction? Or are you in favor of, what's that? Well, we're on the amendment.
What we should have said.
What's that?
He is opposed to the amendment.
Right, got it. Are you opposed?
No, I'm here to clarify a few things. I was chairman of CIPC this past year. The Grange was a hotly discussed item on CIPC. Eventually, a compromise was reached. Pivotal to what's going on with Grange is the determination that the town property manager reached that nothing should be done in that building until the foundation is fixed. anything that is done, like new windows, would probably be cracked while the work is going on in the basement. The cost estimated, which I personally believe is low, was $150,000 to fix it. We said as a compromise, okay, the town will put up 75,000 if, and only if, the Grange committees can come up with a grant of 75,000 or greater. And that's how it came out of CIPC. So you first have to understand that nothing really, I gather by the Board of Selectmen feel that the foundation has to be fixed first. So there's no increment other than that. Secondly, it came out of CIPC saying that it
We've got
was,
a motion on the floor to amend this article.
I'm explaining it, Bruce. The 75,000 is a match. And that's the relevance of it.
Do they have the other 75,000? No.
Okay, so what we have on the floor is to reduce the capital reserve funds for the Goldenrod Grange to 0 and change which changes the total of $402,500 to go into these other as they're presented. Any other first timers?
Just very briefly, I don't want to belabor this. There is no Grange organization in the town of Swansea. The Grangers haven't been here for years. There is a state Grange and a national Grange, which is kind of what we're trying to preserve. We are a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen. We were appointed by the selectmen. We report to them. They give us direction. We have a charge with them. We have engineering reports in the Petrovic report that we got back that actually say the foundation is, although it needs some repair work, it's ultimately in good shape. That's the words that are used, and that's online on the town website if you want to look at it. I don't want to get into a running debate about it. I know people are emotional, about this, but we want to make that a senior center and a meeting place for nonprofits. That's what we told the selectmen that we thought the purpose should be, and they agreed with us that we need a place where nonprofits can meet where they don't have to pay to go. And we need to do more for seniors. That Coffee Connections is just once a week and it's been very successful. And I think there could be other activities there in time working with the recreation department. So I would encourage you to, just to not defeat this. Thanks.
We have a motion to move the amendment and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Do you understand the amendment?
State it again.
It's been moved.
Right. What it would do is change. Where's the total? We would take $75,000 and zero it out opposite the Goldenrod Grange Hall, which would bring it to $402,500 to go into the capital reserve funds if that was taken out. That's what we're voting on. Any further? Seeing none. All those in favor? All those opposed?
No.
Chairs in doubt, which isn't a big deal. But We do, okay, to get away with the out of the doubt place. Can all those who are in favor of this amendment, please stand up. You don't count. We don't have this side yet. Sixteen. I've got 16 on that one. Okay, those against?
I'm up. I've got down before. 9 over here.
9. I got a 18 on this side.
All right. I don't think 9 is right.
More than 9. Well, I got 20.
We're asking for a recount. I'll stand up anyway. Well. I just want to be sure. Oh, that's what I got before. You had how many, Paul?
12.
12. Take my shoes off. Meeting report. Let's see. I get 17 on this side.
12, 29, so 31, 29.
No. This was the nose. I'd say it's 1 to. Unless someone objects and wants to go to a ballot vote, I say that the amendment passes.
About 31 to 29, if you want to pass.
Yeah. Yeah. 31, so that means the amendment passes.
That number becomes 0.
Yes. Any further comment on the vote? Seeing none, that's
Strict reconsideration.
Second.
motion is made to reconstruct. Yeah. Restrict reconsideration somewhere in there. On Article 8 as amended. All those in favor? Opposed? Yeah. All right. So we have that. We voted with that. Hi. Okay. I'll make that motion. Put the as amended on the warrant.
Ended article, right? Yeah.
We have to do it. Haven't done it yet. Jeez. Must be on the clock. So move Article 8 as amended onto the wall. And seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay. Second. Article 9, move to the floor.
Mr. Moderator. Article 9 is the second article appropriating funds to the town's capital reserve and expendable trust that help finance the 6-year capital improvement plan as recommended by the Capital Improvement Committee. This article saves $685,000 in various accounts associated with Department of Public Works. These purposes include road reconstruction, sidewalks, trucks and equipment, bridges, and rail trails.
Discussion?
Second.
I don't see any discussion, so motion is to move the article and has been seconded. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You know that.
Can you stand up when you say that?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Moderator, I move Article 10 to the floor for debate.
Okay. Moved and seconded to move Article 10 to debate.
Mr. Moderator, this article saves $300,000 in the fire station's capital reserve fund if the fire station bond fails. The tax impact to save towards a fire station is the same as approving the bond, thanks to half funding from taxes and half from the fund balance. $500,000 has been saved in this article so far.
Further discussion? Move it. Article 10 has been moved and seconded. I don't see any discussion. So all those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Of course it does. Everybody gets a vote.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 11 to the floor for debate.
Article 11. Seconded.
Mr. Moderator,
Finance.
Article 11 would create the West Swansea Tax Increment Finance District, which would use future tax payments on assessed value increases in the district to fund infrastructure improvements. This district was recommended by an advisory committee and would currently fund water and sewer systems improvements or line extensions in West Swansea without raising taxes or user fees. There is no additional cost to the properties within the district. This is just like the TIF district that we had over in Safford Drive. That's basically coming to an end. So
Further discussion.
Second.
Article 11 has been moved and seconded. No discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 12 to the floor for debate.
Article 12's been moved for debate.
Mr. Moderator, this article allows the selectmen to begin the process to purchase the West Swansea Water Company through the process outlined in RSA 38:4. If this article is approved, the purchase agreement will need to be finalized and approved at a future town meeting, likely later in 2025. If this article is rejected, it cannot be reconsidered for 2 years.
Further. Been moved and seconded. To remain as it is. All those in favor of Article 12? Aye. Those opposed, nay. Okay, Article 13.
13 to the floor for debate.
Seconded. Great.
Mr. Moderator, Article 13 would save $100,000 in the Ambulance Expendable Trust Fund created in 2024. The town's current contract for ambulance services with Cheshire County EMS runs until June 30th, 2026. After the current contract, the town expects significantly higher costs, and this article saves to help soften that cost increase. Because it is funded by the undesignated fund balance, it has no direct tax impact.
Further discussion. Move.
Good question. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay.
Move Article 14 to the floor for debate.
Seconded. Yep. Okay. Victor?
Mr. Moderator, this article would readopt the new commercial and industrial tax exemption adopted in 2020. This exemption allows the selectmen to grant temporary exemptions on commercial and industrial improvements when there is a public benefit, such as increasing the tax base, creating jobs, or redeveloping blighted areas. To date, the town has approved 2 such exemptions.
Further discussion.
Question.
Don't see any discussion. Article's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed?
Moderator, I make a motion to restrict reconsideration of Articles 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Can you do that?
Move to restrict.
Second it.
Would you read those again, please?
I thought I heard that Article 14 was moved to the ballot. Is that not correct?
Yes.
So I'm making a motion to restrict reconsideration of Articles 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 has already been restricted. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Okay. Been seconded. All those in favor of restricting,
Aye.
opposed?
Hey.
Where are we now?
What do you want to do with this?
Moderator. I make a motion, we move Article 15 to the floor for debate.
Can't be debated. Petition article.
Petition articles can be debated. Petition
Can't be changed.
debated. This particular article, as town council can attest, the language in the article cannot be amended. But the article itself can be debated.
Mr. Moderator, this article was submitted by petition and would increase the Board of Selectmen from 3 to 5 members. If approved, this would go into effect in 2026.
The article.
Before the article is seconded, this is a very substantial proposed change in the governance of the town, and I think it's unfair to all of you who are here to move this without having a fruitful discussion.
Are there any of the petitioners that are here that would like to speak to it?
Steve Biddle, I agree with Bill. This is a change out of the blue that has not properly been thought through by the body, and would urge voting it down. To that, I will add 3 thoughts. 1, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. 2, since when has more government solved any problem? And 3, if the people who put this forth can't enter into a debate and state their case, what does that tell you? Thank you.
Paul?
Paul Sharing, North Swanzey. 4 words. More is not better.
Oh, Bob.
Yes. I just did. Like to speak against this. I firmly believe that 3 has served us well over the years, and I can't see any reason to increase that number. Actually, we have 4 because Michael he's just like another selectman, but he's very knowledgeable. Yeah, he serves us well, so we actually have 4. Thank you.
Going further. Yeah. So the article will go as it appears on the warrant. Next one.
Before I move the next article, I just want to make it clear, I am so disappointed that some of you here signed that petition. In particular, the individual who initiated this petition didn't have the ability to stand up and talk to it. This is a substantial change in the way the town has been governed, and I'm really disappointed that that didn't happen.
Yes, I'm going to be called out personally. I'll stand up. My name is Brian Rogers. I started that petition after talking with our town administrator on more than 3 occasions and talking with our selectmen. It was put to the voters to say, do we want it? That's all it was. And there's been great offense taken by the town hall that we asked the question. I asked the question because one of our 3 selectmen had been ill for an extended period of time. Thus, our town is run by 2 people. I never voted for our town to be run by 2 people, and I'm not going to tolerate it. Not one more time. So we put it to the voters. Do you want 5 or not? It's simple. It's either a yes or a no. The foundation of it was that we're having all these new apartment buildings brought into town. That's more resources, more infrastructure, more use against our town, our school, our roads. If you don't see it, you will when they start moving in and filling the apartments. At which point I had done a study for every single town in the entire state of New Hampshire, every one of them. What types of government they had, how many selectmen, mayor, manager, administrator. We have an administrator type of government at this point. and we have 3 selectmen, and we're adding north of 900 bedrooms to our town. It's probably going to be more than 1 or 2 people move into Swanzey. I felt we needed to potentially have a little bit more representation. That was purely the motive behind it. There was no ire against the town hall, even though it was taken that way. Again, it's up to the voters.
My comment was not in regard to whether town hall was supportive. My comment was that what would have been preferable would have been to have had the opportunity to work collectively as we do with CIP, as we did with the water committee, as we did with the TIP committee, and as in particular what we did with the fire station committee, to bring people together to discuss whether there was a benefit to change the form of government that we have. With regard to the next steps, there's been discussion at the board of perhaps considering town manager. The argument with regard to the fact that we went out to 2 selectmen last year, we were in a tough spot. We didn't have a vacant position. We can't bring someone in to replace someone who hasn't resigned. That was a circumstance. In terms of the timing, we'd already gone through our budget. We'd already prepared for our reviews. So all of the work essentially was done except preparing for these meetings, budget hearing, deliberative session, and obviously the warrant in March. So for us, we just would have preferred that there had been an honest discussion and an opportunity to bring it forward. And for the people that I've spoken to and encouraged to vote against it, one aspect that I think would be great is if we could collectively come together with a group and recommend going back to town meeting. This particular warrant is so ideal for town meeting because there's so many aspects, as Jim said in the very beginning, there's so many articles that pertain to how this town is going to function in the next 15 to 25 years. And that's all we would have appreciated was the opportunity to have debate. A couple of people that I spoke to who signed the petition, that was their intent. They understood that it would provide the opportunity to have a debate. This doesn't do that. That's the objection. It's not the objection to go with 5 members. If 1 member went down, then you'd have 4. So what's the argument? The argument is we should have had 5. Well, if that person doesn't resign, we can't replace them. We did look into the possibility of appointing an alternate. We've been advised by town council it's not permitted by under state law. So we were stuck in a rock between a quote-unquote rock and a hard place. And we did slide and hide the best that we could with the assistance of Michael and the other town staff. That was the hand we were dealt.
So I appreciate that, and I thank you for the clarification as far as what the town's position was. You've now heard me publicly state what my position was. It's up to the voters. I'm not trying to hide in the shadows. I'm not trying to be some lurky out there, stirring up the dust in Swansea. I travel for work. That comes first. I put it out there. Voters don't want it, they can vote it down. It's
Thank you.
really that simple.
It goes forward.
It goes forward. The article being a petition article will move forward.
Mr. Moderator, I move Article 16 to the floor for debate.
And seconded. Article 16 is also a petition article.
Mr. Moderator, this article was submitted by petition and would add an additional polling place here at Whitcomb Hall. The selectmen do not recommend this article because it would add cost and create confusion and logistical concerns without a clear benefit.
Any of the petitioners that are here? Have they initiated this? Heather.
So my name is Heather Estrella. I'd like to do an amendment to Article 16 to see if the town will vote to study adding a second polling location for all voting local and federal at 17 Main Street, Wickham Hall.
You have that in writing?
Hear that? Bruce, can you read that to us? Can be.
Bruce, can you read?
Okay, amendment takes precedent over passing the other one. So the amendment is to see if the town will vote to study adding a second polling location for all voting, local and federal, at 17 Main Street, Wickham Hall. So, discussion on the amendment.
Second.
Did we have a second? Okay, it's been seconded.
I just.
I've been asked to clarify the question of whether it can be amended, and it can. And you may be wondering, well, if the previous article couldn't be amended, why can this be amended? There's nothing that prohibits petitioned articles from being amended. They're just like any other articles. They can be amended. The reason the prior one couldn't be is there is a provision in state law that says articles whose language is prescribed by statute cannot be amended. And the previous article, the one about increasing the size of the Board of Selectmen, that language is specifically in state statute, and therefore it cannot be amended. But in general, petitioned articles can be amended. The other question that I can anticipate someone might bring up is, well, you can amend it, but you can't change the intent. That's not correct either. The Supreme Court has specifically said you can change the intent of an article, whether it's petitioned or otherwise. You cannot change the subject matter. Subject matter here is an additional polling place at Wickham Hall. So this amendment is not changing the subject matter, and therefore it is permissible. Good job.
Okay, my name is Carol DeRocher. I was the town clerk here for 21 years. And I was here when we first started. Well, when my first year was here, we had 4 voting places. One in East Swansea, North Swansea, West Swansea, and the center. The reason we brought it all in was because it was very, very difficult to get workers. And that's what I think you'll find if you instigate just a research on the issue. We also, at that time, got the voting machines, which helped tremendously. Prior to that, getting the votes all tallied and calculated to send to the state was taking way too much time. So I would recommend you can either accept this agreement or not, but the whole petition to me is ludicrous.
Scott Self again. And I signed that petition to have voting here. I live in West Swansea, probably one of the reasons I signed it. But after, talking to other people about it and thinking about it, I like the amendment better to think about it, because other things I hadn't considered was, where do you draw the line for the precinct? How do you do that? And those types of logistics. So I'm in favor of the amendment.
Joe DeRusso, Public Works Director. I'm in favor of the amendment as well. A lot of people don't realize just how much goes into setting up for the voting. And prior to being over at the high school, obviously the voting was out at a church in one isolated area in town. The school has been great to us of letting us use that facility. There's plenty of room, there's plenty of parking, and it is somewhat centrally located. But as far as looking into doing something like that, this planning is a great idea. As it stands right now, we do not have the resources, we being Public Works, to set up a second. We barely have enough to get it done, especially if it happens to be a winter storm in March, which recently happened. So there is a lot to go into it. And if that's what the public wants, this planning study can address those issues to see what it's going to take.
When was first?
I'm not sure if this is part of the amendment or not, but being a supervisor of the checklist, I'm part of a email chain of supervisors of the checklist for the whole state. Out of all the towns in the state, I had 8 responses, and I asked other towns how many voting places they have. So 8 places responded. They have anywhere from 4,000 voters to 18,000 voters. They all have 1 polling place. They just get more ballot clerks. That's all it takes.
Dan Kaufman, Swanzey. I support the amendment by Ms. Estrella. Further that, I don't even know how anybody comes up with this idea. This is crazy to me. Why we're gonna advocate for spending another whatever, whether it's $15,000 or add another 10 to it to try to set something up. It doesn't make any sense to me. If we're gonna study it, I would love to participate, by the way. I would also like to add to the study of how silly it is to have kids have a day off and those employees have a day off of school in order for us to vote. I know logistically it's way better than being over at the church. I get that. However, having manipulated school calendars is not good. And I'll be glad to get in the ring with anyone over that, but that's what has happened since we've changed this voting. So when we get ready to consider and study whatever else we're going to do, maybe we're going to have enough room in the parking lot, a new fire station to house that, right? Or create some parking at side road. Who the heck knows? But I know it's not good to have kids get a different day off of school. We got enough problems in the school district. We don't need to be taking time away from them. Thank you.
We have a motion to move the amendment. Are you familiar with what the amendment says? Well, some people don't. Some of us can't see that far. So this is to see if the town will vote to study adding a second polling location for all voting, local and federal, at 17 Main Street, Whitcomb Hall. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, so the Article 16 that is amended. And now we're back to the main article. Move the question.
Second.
So the Article 16 as amended will go on the regular ballot in its amended form. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Now what? Before you leave, we have one more thing to vote. Okay, need a motion to recess until March 11th, which will be. All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you all very much.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Gonna fly. So, I've been watching. What are they gonna do? Fire me? Yeah, right. But.
Have a good one.
You know, I don't want to. What I, yeah, I have the money and get lost. Yeah, I do this. I know about some Italians like to get here. Have something to go. I saw some childhood stories where the Italians, right? Basically, yeah, I got half Irish. My mother was Irish, my father was Italian. All right. We spent a lot better than I expected. I'm very happy. Now we just get it out for ourselves. Yeah, it's
Always wanted to stand at the podium.
but sinners. You know? Tomorrow night I'll be there. All right, man.
I don't know.
It's.
I think sometimes I work in a nonprofit and I think when I see how things go, it just gets so much.
Yes, I did. I set up my teenager.
I don't think, but I'm just trying to also get how can we? Yes, yes.
They had the opportunity.
No, I understand that, but. My understanding before was.
Yeah, so I heard.
But I didn't know that. I've been following this for a couple of years now. And it's like. Yeah. And I've heard somebody on the street, I've never understood it. And some of these, you got some of these projects. I don't like. Again, I've thrown up here my car. I think the technology is here. Technology.
I did one of your first bathrooms.
Me too.
And yeah,
For the next 20 years. But I was telling Michael, I think some information is, like I said, understanding how the things come in us. Just not very tax. See them all building. Tax. Benefits coming from it, and we don't. Now, yeah, I'm going to get that information would have been helpful as the uproar began to. I think so. No, I agree. I can trust me. That was the thing. I think.
Yep.
Everybody's drinking about it.
I see a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
We won't be involved with it. Because you have to be still reminding them. If I had
Yep.
It's just like the Democrats doing. I simply looked at it. And said, "Which one do we have to do it?" And it was, we wanted to go to the doctor, and the possibility. And you simply tell me that you know better what to put in my town, I did. Somebody else. I just knew anyway. I will wait if I have something done. I believe that.
As you know, I did not. But I'll be around to help. You know, I have your things in the planning board. And actually, I don't think. If you have what's in front of you, I don't make. There's lots of reasons to vote again. That's not one of them.
All right, that's a good time.
There's lots of reasons to vote again. Okay. Okay, I gotta go get some dogs. Sorry, I'm I don't want to. You're on your way to start. You're on your way to hang there. Keep going. But if you want to be technically correct, I would. No, one recommendation was one. No. They are. I think they are. I'm saying. Oh, you're going to say nothing? Yeah. Oh, I think we should say anything. This is the body. But if it goes down, it's down. Look what got started. Studying that. First 5 years. They'll get back here. Any other change to the other? You don't want to put it on the area. Yeah, there's a hotel right there. That's Here, I'll send you.
Congratulations on your impending retirement. I don't really know. I don't you guys are, yes. Thank you, Gary. So we can all take a photo, whatever. Yes.